I'm Shalane, this is Dean, and we are
Grassroots Living.
And this is how we live our love. Hi friends, we are so glad you're with us again today. We actually recently had a really great question that one of our subscribers sent to us at our Gmail, which is grassrootsliving180@gmail.com if you ever want to holler at us. Anyway, it was such a great question that we decided to go ahead and do a video on it.
Right. Now, the question was, quite simply, this person's looking into truck campers and knew that we at one time had a pop-up camper, and then also now we have, of course, the hard side, and wanted to know what we thought about each, and because they really are a little undecided on which way to go.
Right. So the ones we're comparing today are, how do you say it, super comparable just in their size, in their cost, in their weight, and everything. So we're going to go over each topic one by one and let you know what we think.
Okay, now one of the things that I think is an important ingredient here is what kind of gas mileage you get. Because with the soft top, you can go, or the pop-up, you can go ahead and pull it all the way down. So there really isn't much of a drag on your truck. I looked up, because we always chart our gas mileage no matter where we were. And I looked up our gas mileage from when we had a little pop-up camper and noticed it was about 1.5 miles per gallon better with the pop-up camper. So that's significant. If we were averaging, say, 200 miles a day and we went out for 30 days, which is what we did when we went to Maine and back, that would amount to a pretty good amount of money. $150, $200, I think, is what we figured out. But it is something that you might want to know.
Okay, so the next thing we're going to talk about is just accessing your vehicle or your camper when you're driving down the road. When you're wanting to just kind of pull over and have a little picnic, save a little money, right, and not go out to eat all the time. With this hard-sided camper, you can just step right in and get into the refrigerator and have yourself a little picnic or take a little nap. But with the soft side or the pop-up, you can get in, but you kind of have to squat down, and you can sit at the table, but it's kind of tricky making lunch, and you can take a nap, but also kind of tricky and kind of cramped up. So as far as access, easy access, the hard side is much easier. All right, so the next one that we're going to talk about is stealth camping, which we do a lot of, actually. We do a lot of Walmart parking lots and Cabela's and Bass Pro and what's that restaurant? Cracker Barrel. Yeah, it's kind of tricky to stealth camp anywhere in this little beast here.
A little bright red.
Bright red Casey. But at least when we are in like a Walmart parking lot or something, people can just think that maybe we're just inside or we're just with the other campers and just hanging out. But when you have a soft side, you're popping it up, and it's kind of like putting up a tent in the middle of a parking lot. It's kind of odd.
Yeah. It did make us, the first time especially, it kind of made us feel uncomfortable, like,
yeah,
I don't know, too many people would know.
Yeah, and it's definitely not something I would do at a roadside park, would be to put up the pop-up. So we were just a little bit more leery about stealth camping.
You remember in Eastern New York, we popped it up, and then I woke up in the morning and I looked, and there was a truck that had a pickup truck that had kind of pulled about 20 feet away, and we were by ourselves. I mean, there was no one else around it. And just sat there and watched our trailer for 10 or 15 minutes.
Yeah, a lot of people are pretty fascinated by the soft side, and they want to look at it and ask you questions about it. So maybe that's all he was doing, but it was just kind of odd. And in the soft side too, as far as with stealth camping, everybody knows when all your lights are on. They can hear everything you're saying and doing because there's no walls. There's just a screen. So yeah, it's pretty open air.
Right. The next thing we want to talk about is how it travels. And as you can see, when you have a hard side, it's got kind of a high profile. And if you have a 35 mile an hour crosswind, it can push you around a little bit. Yeah. Whereas the lower profile from a soft side will, of course, be a huge advantage in that sort of a situation.
Right, so I drove both of them. A lot of times, for some reason, the ladies won't drive, and to be honest with you, if it was a giant fifth wheel or motorhome, I'm not sure if I would drive. I don't know that I would feel comfortable, but I don't have a problem driving these. But I can tell you that even with this little guy, the wind can kind of take it a little bit. You have to be a little bit aware of that, and you do feel it kind of push and pull a little bit, to where we did not feel that much at all in the pop-up.
And obviously something that goes along with it, we take some pretty bizarre little two-track roads sometimes.
We do.
And you know, just the fact that it is a higher profile means you're more apt to get hit low-hanging branches and stuff like that.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, the video that we did last week, I'll go ahead and link it up here. You'll see that a lot of the branches were kind of low, and so yeah, we don't want to get pretty little Casey scratched up. So there are roads that we wouldn't take in this that we would have taken in Frodo, our little squatty one.
Okay, now let's look at setup and takedown. I'm gonna go ahead and put the electric in. I've already taken care of the water, and I'm done. That's how easy it is with the hard side. With the soft side, I've just started. Now I'd have to go ahead and unlatch all the sides, all the corners. I'd have to go on the inside, get the remote, and get the electric mechanism working to raise it up slowly. There's so many other little things that you have to do in order to get it set up the way you want it to have it set up.
And takedown is just as easy. We unplug the electric and the water, and we're pretty much done. If we had the soft side that we had before, we would have to lower a little bit and tuck in the canvas, right, all the way around, and then lower a little bit more and tuck it in and lower it a little bit more, and then latch it and make sure it was all latched in there. And if it had rained the night before, it was kind of a bummer because we'd also have to dry all of the sides because we were a little bit worried about closing it wet. So as far as just the ease of setup and takedown, we're kind of partial to Casey.
So we've already talked about how easy it is to set up and take down with the hard side. Now, one of the things I guess that's kind of tied to this is we like to keep things as simple as possible. We don't like slide outs. Anything that you add to your truck camper is just something else that can break. And the same thing happened to us in a pop-up. One time, one of us forgot to undo the latch, and I'm not going to point any fingers, but
what?
But I will say this: we started lifting it, and it came off its track. So so 3 sides were lifted, but 1 side was not. So I had to kind of squeeze my skinny little body in it and lift up, and we were able to get it back on track and get it going down the road. But from that point on, I always wondered, is it going to go off track? You know, which is something we never have to do with the hard side. And another thing that's kind of tied with that as well is the fact that you need to have a motor to go ahead and operate the mechanism that raises the top on the pop-up camper, which is fine. But if you've been using the heater most of the night and your battery's starting to drain, then you have to worry, do I even have enough juice in the battery to go ahead and raise it or lower it or whatever it is that I need to do. So, like I said, that's just one more device that could go wrong or could cause a potential problem for you.
Okay, next is just the overall feeling of the camper, I guess, and that, of course, is total preference, right? I loved the feel. We loved the feel of the little Palomino because we loved how open it was. So it felt a little bit bigger. On the other hand, this one feels super cozy and safe. I know when we're dry camping, like in parking lots and things, I feel safer, and this just feels homier, but the other one felt more open. So that's just really kind of a preference for you. You just kind of gotta get in there and feel it and see what you think. So next we'll talk just real quick about cooking. Not much difference between the two, except that with the pop-up, since you did have all those screens all the way around, I was more likely to cook with some like onions and garlic and maybe cook some fish for dinner. But in this one, I avoid that like the plague because it's pretty tight and it doesn't want to let those those smells out. So sometimes I just cook outside. But as far as cooking, it's a little bit better with the open air of the pop-up camper.
Okay, let's talk real quick about how easy it is to keep heat or coolness going through something like this compared to the pop-up camper. You'll notice that all we have are just these windows here for the crosswind. So on a 70-75 degree day, when you're really not using the air conditioner and you're really not using the heater, boy, it's much better to have that pop-up camper with all the windows on, because it's just completely goes all the way around the outside with windows, and you got that nice breeze coming through. Here, not so much. However, if you do have to use the heater or you do have to use the air conditioner, so much better to have the hard side, because that canvas does not do as good a job of holding it in, holding the coolness or the heat in, as you would a hard side.
Okay, so it's nighttime and we get all tucked in bed, and then a rainstorm hits and it's windy and it's coming down in torrents.
Do you remember the one at Carrizozo?
Yeah. So we were in a truck camper on that one, but that one would have been kind of crazy in the pop-up.
It would have.
Right. So, and we do watch the weather pretty closely. And when you're in a pop-up, you have to do that so much more than when you're in a hard side. And when you're in a hard side, you're all tucked in, safe and sound.
Yeah. Now, to be fair, the Palomino that we had, the little pop-up camper, it never did leak. And
no.
And it, you know, in terms of wind, it would blow the canvas in, but it wouldn't. Nothing ever happened, and nothing ripped or anything like that. Just to be fair.
Yeah, the Palomino is a good product.
Yeah.
In our opinion.
Yeah, but it's just that it made you think about it. Yeah. And especially if it was a long thunderstorm or a series of thunderstorms throughout the night, you're thinking about it all the time. Yeah. When you're on a hard side,
yeah,
it is what it is. You go to sleep.
No worries. You're all tucked in, and you hear the pitter-patter of the rain on the roof, and it's just nice and pleasant. It's not a concern. All right, so we've gone through all of the different things, all the different topics we wanted to talk about, and so now you could probably already tell which one we prefer, but if we haven't already let the cat out of the bag, we'll let you know that our favorite is the hard side, for sure. Now, keep in mind, like we said earlier, the Palomino, the soft side that we had, was such a fabulous camper. The problem is that we live in our truck camper months at a time. So it's not just a weekend camping rig for us. So for us, the hard side is a little bit better, but if you're looking at a soft side and you think it's the one for you, pull the trigger on that. That's a good little camper, and we enjoyed it so much.
Right. And like I said before, usually soft sides are lighter weight, and usually they are less expensive. And obviously it's going to have an impact for a lot of people.
It's super easy to drive, just a really, really enjoyable little camper, but we sure love our Travel Lite.
All right, so when we took our trip across Canada to Maine and back, we used this, which is a 2017 Palomino SS-500. It's the smallest, it's called the Backpack Edition. It's the smallest truck camper that Palomino makes. It has a little bit of everything. It has the electric jacks. It has propane, and it has a regular 20-pound propane tank. Has our propane or electric or 12 volts refrigerator. It is a 3-way refrigerator. It has the hot water heater. It has glass, that window that pops out for us. 30 amp. It does have electric circuitry over here. Go all the way around the outside. This is a place where I can plug in a 7-way into the back of the truck, so it will be recharging the battery as we go. Here's the outlet for the furnace. It does have a city water connection. For the most part, we always just use the fresh water, so I just had to pour it through here. It holds 14 gallons, and we always just kept a couple of 6-gallon jugs of water, just so we'd always have a little extra. Has the outdoor shower,
which we used a lot.
yeah, which we used a lot towards the end. We do have capabilities of putting it indoors if we need to, if it's cold enough. But we prefer the outdoors. And there we have it.
And I'm going to show you a tour of the inside. Okay, so we meant to do this tour while we were still living in it, and we neglected it, we procrastinated and didn't do it. So we're going to just show you and talk to you about the things that we did. So the first thing that we did was put in a screen door because it didn't have one. So this is just one of those little magnetic doors that snaps shut when you drop it closed. So come on in, there's not much room, but come with me. Okay, so there's actually more cupboard space than you would think. If you organize correctly, you can get a lot of stuff in there. Again, I apologize that we didn't do this when we were living in it. It has a little sink here and a 2-burner stove. If you come around to the other side, you'll see that it does have a refrigerator. It does not have a little freezer, so refrigerator only. Another modification that we made was that we added this cargo net. This is something that you would put like in the back of a van, and then we just put hooks here to close it up. So we were actually able to put a ton of stuff in this 3-pocket cargo net. That was a game changer, and I would suggest anybody that has any kind of an RV, if you're lacking room and if you have a spot for something like this, yeah, that worked out really, really well for us. So you can tell them about this. I just know this is always how I put the camper up and down.
Because it is a soft side pop-up camper.
And then this turns the battery off and on. So if you look over here, I'll grab the camera. You can make this into a table or a couch/bed, and we'll show it both ways so you can see it. When you sit on the couch though, your feet don't go all the way to the floor, or mine don't, and I'm not even sure Dean's did very well. And he's 6'1", 6 foot tall. So we built this little platform, which was actually really handy too, because we were able to put a bunch of stuff in here. And our grandson is here talking to us. Say hi.
Hi.
Hi. Okay, but are you cleaning the lens for me?
I'm not worried.
You're not.
Wants to tell me something.
Okay, go tell Papa something. Okay, the bed, I'm not totally sure if it is a full king, but is well bigger than a queen because our queen sheets would not fit. There's a ton of light in here. We don't have any lights on up there at the bed right now, but you can see there's a ton of lights, and there's an air conditioner, and like Dean said, a heater. One other thing we like about it is that the windows, if it's raining, you don't have to have the screen open, but you can still see out, because they all have this one to open up to let the air in, and then they have this one that blocks sunlight. So that's super handy to have. Okay, so the table is pretty straightforward and easy. It's similar to pretty much all campers. We're gonna take this cushion, and I actually always put this cushion right up here. And then I had containers that I always put right here that were full of food, and it didn't use that much room. As a matter of fact, I'll show you really fast if you want to see that. Okay, these are empty right now. I call them bread containers. I don't know if they are, but I had 4 of them stacked on top of each other. They do have lids. They fit here perfectly, and I still have plenty of space right here to work. So that was kind of our pantry. So anyway, so we just put the cushion up there. There's another cushion right here. Dean actually likes this one behind his back. So we would always just stick it right there. Then there's this little board right here. Go for it. I'm gonna have Dean come in and move that. Not that it's difficult, he just seems to be handier at it. And the table would always sit on the bed when we were traveling. Hi baby, can you wait just a few minutes? We're making a video real quick. You what? You want to talk to the video?
Yeah.
Okay, you can talk to the video in a few minutes. Papa's talking to the video.
All right, so we put the pole in, set this down. It does swivel real easy. Now we're good to go.
And when this is folded all the way down, he can sit there like that. Do you have to duck at all? When it's
Ever so slightly.
He ducks just a tiny bit, but we can stop at a roadside stop and come back here and have a quick picnic. If we already have pre-prepared stuff, we can sneak in here even when it's folded down. And then as you can see, this little platform that we built actually worked perfectly. We had a bunch of stuff in here where he's sitting, and then on this side we had shoes. So it actually gave us a ton of room. It doesn't look that big, but we had several pair of shoes in there and a lot of other things. Okay.
Now, one of the great things about this bed is that it's actually a little bigger than queen size, which surprised us in such a small truck camper. And on the sides, we had those same...
Right, so we had, like, again, what I call bread boxes. And we have 4 of them up here. They fit perfectly. So Dean had 2 and I had 2. So he had ones for pants and shirts, and I had one for pants and shirts. And he still had a little room on his side for, you know, random stuff that ends up on the side of the bed, I guess. This little table, when we're not using it, will actually just slide right underneath the mattress, so it's not in your way. It also has a fantastic fan up there, and then just a regular fan, which we have covered right now, above me. So there's actually a lot more room than you would think. And then also we put, where'd they go? We put hooks anywhere where we can find a spot to put hooks. We put hooks to hang stuff. We actually lived in this quite comfortably. There's not a toilet or a shower.
Yeah,
so you want to talk to them about that?
So we got a porta potty that we could bring along, and we also have a pop-up shower tent that we just put on the side, and anytime we wanted to use it, we could just pop right on out. We could always bring it in the nighttime hours and use it then if we needed to. But you know, we just had to make adjustments as we went.
Mostly we use public restrooms. When we were camping, we tend to like to camp out in the middle of nowhere, so it was no big deal to put the little pop-up tent up and use the restroom out in that. What do you have?
Grass.
Grass, you sure do.
And we're making a fire.
A campfire?
Yeah.
Are we gonna roast hot dogs for dinner?
Yes.
Because we're here visiting the grandbabies. Are you my grandbaby?
Yes.
Can you tell them to like and subscribe?
Like and subscribe.
Can you tell them to give it a thumbs up?
Thumbs up.
Good job, buddy.
That's a table
Yep, that's the table
for eating.
for eating. And Papa's
hot
up there
dogs?
closing the window. Yeah, you want to eat the hot dogs? Well, I don't know if we can eat the hot dogs in here because Nana's about to put this thing away for the winter.
Why?
Because we have our other camper that we use in the wintertime.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Also, these were screwed down at the bottom. And what we did was we unscrewed them and lifted them up, and this will probably blow your warranty to pieces, so don't do it if you have a warranty, which we don't. So anywhere we could, anywhere we could, we needed extra space. So we took the screws off the bottom of here and we lifted that up. Baby Noah, watch your head. Okay. And underneath it was some very precious room. You need every inch you can get. So we actually put some things underneath the sinks and just any place that we could lift something up like this was down. We took it off. Again, don't do this. It will mess up your warranty most likely. Am I right on that, don't you think? But look at all that room in there, right? So we didn't, we were very careful as to what we put in there, but that's very precious space to use, especially if you're living in it for weeks or even months at a time. Okay, so usually I'm standing inside so I can watch everything as I lower. I'm usually standing inside just to make sure I haven't missed anything. And I just watch it come down as it comes down. So we have all the lights turned off, but I think you can see. And I just take it down to a certain point, about right here, and then we start tucking in.
Okay, so what I do is I just take this, the little rain flap, stuff it up on the insides, all the way across. Usually this is mounted on the truck, and so we have a little step stool that we use that it's real lightweight, less than 2 pounds. I can carry it around in one finger. I drop it, I come back up and I push the stuff in. Very, very easy to do. So simple that even I can do it. Okay, then we bring it down the rest of the way.
So again, usually I'm inside watching everything. He's outside watching everything. We always make sure that the front, you know, and the back are both going down all the way.
Do you recall when we were young, running from all things at once, without thinking twice?
So we hope that you found that super helpful. I think we probably would have found that helpful when we were shopping, so hopefully that helped you. If you have any comments about that, please leave it in the comments below. You know, let us know if you have any other thoughts or ideas or questions that we could answer or have a conversation about on this channel. We appreciate that, and everybody that watches all these little how-tos and tips and tricks, they appreciate it.
And plus, you never know, we might make it into a video as well.
Yeah. So subscribe if you haven't already, so you can come with us on our little adventures and our little how-tos, and we have a good time. So, and do we have anything else?
That's it.
All right. Until next week, this is Grassroots Living, reminding you to get down to the grassroots of what makes you happy and live your love.
We're thinking of you, and we'll catch you next time.
Peace out.
Like and subscribe.
Can you tell him to give it a thumbs up?
Thumbs up.
Good job, buddy.